Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee to order. The first item on our agenda is to approve minutes for our August the 4th meeting.
So moved.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner P. Any additions or corrections to those minutes? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. I'll ask Mr. Beatty, our county trustee, to join us with the investment report.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'll have the report. We did not have a bid this last month. We'll have one next week, so we'll have a little better idea of where the market. The last bid was a little better than we had, but LGIP dropped another basis point to 0.13. I just looked, checked the 10-year treasury, dropped below 2, went to 1.99 today, so that's the yield on 10 years. So yields are really low, and the Fed has said they won't raise short-term rates till mid-2013. So we're kind of in this low pattern for a while.
At least we know it won't go much lower.
Well,
At least the .13 can't go much lower.
you know, there was a time in, I guess, '08 where treasuries were actually selling, short terms were selling at a negative yield for the safety, for people to know that they were getting them back. But what we are seeing that is different, I met with some trustees a couple of weeks ago, we discussed this situation, that banks, because they don't have a place to go, are not as interested in the money and are actually telling some counties that they're going to have to reduce their balances or look somewhere else, that they just don't have a place for them even at these low yields. So it is a different time, so we're looking at some different options. So, you know, the rates can't go much lower, but we're actually finding where institutions are just saying, we've got all we need.
Move approval.
Thank you, Commissioner Jernigan.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jordan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. And Mr. Beatty, you also have a resolution that you want to present to us tonight. Gentlemen, that is in Section 8 of your notebooks. Section 8. It is a resolution authorizing a policy for the Rutherford County trustee regarding over and under payments of property taxes, interest and penalty, and other costs.
You know, we get lots of checks, and some of those checks will be just a few dollars off. So we have to try to call them or get somebody to send another check, or honestly, if it gets close to deadlines and it's a few cents or a dollar or so, we just pay it, you know, because these are people that maybe there's a dollar's interest they missed or something, or we'll have some that are just a few dollars over. We have to issue a check for a refund. We have to mail it. If it's $2 or $3 or less, they don't get cash, but we can't just let them go. We have to try to find them. Sometimes they'll actually ask us to reissue a check, and they still won't cash it. And if they don't, then we have to turn it to the state as unclaimed property. If we issue another, we have to do a stop payment. So there's a lot of paperwork. So what we're proposing, we work with auditors on it, and other counties are doing it, that if the overpayment is $5 or less, that we just keep that. If somebody says, no, I want my money, we'll issue them a refund. Then if the underpayment is $2 or less, we'll just use those funds to balance, to go ahead and pay it, because it's costing us more than that in labor and postage and all of those things. Just gives us a little, because now if it's not to the penny, we have no wiggle room. This gives us an opportunity just to avoid some administrative costs.
If it's over, do you notify them?
We will. We'll send them a receipt that it's over. If
They can decide whether they want the money
and if
back.
they want it back without question, we'll send it back to them.
And the ones that are under, do you notify them?
We probably would in a receipt that we'd show them where the trustee paid that balance for them.
If somebody's $4.85 over, we're not going to, is there any way to hold that and just apply it to next year's? I know it gets to be a bookkeeping hazard, but
There's really nothing to post it.
Yeah.
There's really nothing to
until the
post it
tax rate's
to.
set, no, there's not a place. to
Until we
set
actually get the
it.
tax roll,
Yeah.
we don't have an account on which to post that. Now, in the future, you know, that may happen. But what you even run into that is, you know, for a local individual, it's not a problem. But for a company or somebody that does a big issue, you know, which we run into a lot, they're doing maybe multiples, or it's a company headquartered somewhere else that pays. Then by doing that, the next year it's going to multiply because they're going to get their bills and pay some way. But in the future, you know, when I say that in the next few years, it may very well be where payments spread out over 12 months or whatever, then you would be able just to roll forward or do whatever. But the way it is now, every year is closes unto itself.
I hate to be a pessimistic person, but just reading this, somebody, see this go through, they could take $2 off every tax bill they got and be fine. You know, and there are people out there that will catch on to that, I would say, but.
And it doesn't happen all that, I think you might get into that abuse. Now it's, they just misdo it, or they don't round.
Yeah.
We round and they don't round, so they pay us 85 cents over, or it's a small bill and the penalty and interest is $1, and, on a $13 bill, and they send you the 13, it would really help us from and it's one of those things you have to come back, if you started getting abused, everybody say, hey, I saw where if you're within $2, then we'd have to come back and say, this is getting abused. But I surely hope people understand that, that bogs up the whole system, because the postage at 44 cents, I mean, because where we are now, if it's 25 cents difference, we're going to spend several dollars making it right, because we have without authorization, we have nothing. We've got to do that.
Why don't we add a stipulation that if they're incorrect or under 2 years in a row, that they would have to pay the amount? Might offer that as an amendment. Well, yeah, there may be, and that would cut that off.
If you all could track that.
We'd be able
Yeah.
to see.
What do you have, 110,000 or tax bills overall?
Mhm.
How much more paperwork?
We just have to go back and look at it. And there's not that many of them. It just slows the process down so much. And even though there's not many of them, I'll be honest with you, when you put $20 in the pot for us to use and it gets gone, you throw another $20 in, it begins to get where, because if you get close to a deadline, it's easier to pay them than it is to work. It's not a huge volume, but it adds up. The time cost and the postage is but the biggest for my bookkeepers is if when they don't cash the checks, because we can't just let them go. I mean, we've got to, when the days are over, we got to have done something with them or have to turn them over to the state. And you can just imagine trying to track those people down. And
Madam Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to approve the original resolution there.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this resolution. Second by Commissioner Jernigan. I need to come back to Commissioner P. Did you want that wording added to the resolution, Commissioner
I'd
P?
prefer it was. I mean, I think this would just stop us from having headaches in the future if people decide they do want to take advantage of that. So, I mean,
but
I'll go
now,
along with the rest of the committee. I mean, we can come back and look at it next year if it looks like it's going to be
Okay,
a problem.
because I was going to
but
say Commissioner Sandlin's motion is for the original.
I understood.
Okay.
Well, if Mr. Beatty will report back, if this is, like
Yeah.
you said, abuse, then we can always adjust in the
Okay.
future.
Yeah.
So if your name shows up twice, we'll be taking care of it.
yeah, we'll know, because, it sticks in our craw. When you're doing them through and somebody, when you do something good to try to help people and people abuse it, nobody appreciates that. We're trying to work where we make it better for everybody, and, hopefully people will appreciate that.
It seems like I had read where the Internal Revenue Service was having some problems with people that were overpaying, and they were doing it on purpose to make it hard on them for some reason or other, at least the article I was reading. And
That wasn't me.
They took, evidently, they took it in stride and just wanted, basically put it in the general fund there and said, thank you for the money, and went on. So that's not unprecedented, what we're doing there.
It wasn't me neither.
I'd be one that had the $2 less, so.
Okay, any further discussion relative to this motion? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Gentlemen, if you will please locate your fund condition report, and we will begin with the development tax report. Mrs. Noble.
At the end of August, we had collected $194,250. For the month of August, we collected $81,750. Thought we were getting a good start, but kind of lagged a little bit in August.
Okay, let's move please to cash balances.
Balances at the end of August, that's $128,850,000, with $112,098,000 being operating funds, $16,752,000 being borrowed funds. And just as a quick note to remind you that $15 million of the borrowed is that we borrowed from ourselves, from the debt service fund. I've given you your revenue sheet, the revenue review. There's really nothing that stands out, positive or negative.
No happy face.
No faces.
No frowny face.
No frowny, no happy. But it really, this is just reflects 1 month of operations, even though it's 2, it's really just, for us, on accounting, is really 1.
Lisa, on the other page, X balances, I saw where the bids had come in lower on the school and that we'd have some money for Eagleville. Can you explain what we got there as far as the money available toward the Eagleville project? Or have we got that, is that part of this? I noticed you got the Eagleville addition down there on the bottom and,
That money there was money allocated from other projects to
Okay.
pay for the design.
okay, so
That
that's
was
all
it.
that is so
That's
far?
all that
Okay.
is in there.
Well, when I saw that, I didn't know if we were looking at that yet or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We haven't allocated money, I mean, we're gonna talk more about it later.
Okay.
Motion to approve the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Any further discussion? Questions for Mrs. Nolan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. Mrs. Stinson, our insurance director, and I think we just have financials tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That must not be year to year.
We'll start with Fund 264.
Maybe we used to go from that much to that.
Okay, I found it.
I help you out there.
Mayonnaise there.
That's all right. You'll see the significant difference in trend from what we've seen in the past. We'll walk through that. If you look at the month of August, our per employee per month came in at $1,087.04. That's compared to prior year of $684.70. Some of the contribution to the increase is we've had, just as a point of reference, for prior fiscal year, we had 5 claims that exceeded $200,000. One of those was a 1.4, the other 1.4 million. We had one that was over 300,000 and 2 that was over 200,000. Just for July and August of this year, we've had 3 claims already that's exceeded $200,000. 2 of those exceeded 200 and 1 exceeded 400,000. So our trend has been a little bit different. But we're at the onset of the year, and so there's still opportunity for it to adjust throughout the fiscal year and trend similar to what we've had in the past. We have, when you add in the on-site medical cost, you'll see that it rises to $1,118.35 compared to last year that was $702.69. Our cost at the on-site medical clinic also increased significantly from prior year as well. Part of that is because of the reduction in the number of office visits and the increase in cost. They had final ordering that went through in July as part of the clinic transition. So you see a little bit of that flush occurring when you look at what the costs are in terms of the clinics for the month of August as well. So that plus the high claims that we had the first 2 months of the year is some of the contributions to why we're seeing the increase in trend of 26.5% currently. Any questions?
Okay, if you want to, Commissioner Jernigan, we can go ahead and do the next one and take it as one vote.
So if we can go to Fund 266, we'll walk through that. Looking at August, we're at 82% of prior year at $98,509.94 as compared to prior year, which was $119,817.49.
Can I ask you a question back on the clinic side?
Sure.
Remember when we were talking about during budget, their inventory thing? Could you fill us in on that, what happened with the initial changeover and how that?
Where we are in terms of what they had budgeted for inventory?
Startup costs.
The
We
startup
had a
costs.
worst case scenario.
Yeah, they had and that worst
They
case was
were-
pretty worst case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were around 214,000. The last report that I received had them in the high 100. So I am waiting on, we actually started the inventory process today, going in and tagging the different items and stuff. Part of the main cost for that startup is training and employment. That's where the biggest bulk of your startup costs are. And that was $80-something thousand right there in their projected. We had one nurse practitioner that resigned immediately prior to the transition last week. So we'll have additional costs related to that. And we had one medical assistant resign. So we've got all that training and implementation costs tied up in her that we'll have to replace as well.
So it didn't start August 1, it started
September 1.
September
Started
1.
last Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
okay.
one week into
We're a
it.
little early yet then.
Yeah, that's okay. I had been
Can
tracking
you tell us
it.
about that next month then, as far as
will.
what shook out of that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was thinking it started August 1.
No, and
Yeah.
I've been tracking it. I can say that they're very good about documentation back to me and itemization, because I had actually expected that to come up at the insurance committee, so I prepared for it then. And at that point, and they had got through all the training, and so I don't expect that there will be a significant adjustment from the original number that they gave, but I would definitely bring that next month.
I appreciate it. I didn't ask about it last month because I thought they started last month, so.
No, that's
All right,
okay.
thank you.
No, thank you.
So Commissioner Jernigan, is your motion still good? Okay, we'll accept
Second.
Commissioner Jernigan's motion and Commissioner Sandlin as a second. Any further discussion or questions for Mrs. Stinson? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Bolden, if you will join us, please. Mr. Bolden is bringing to us a resolution preliminary authorizing the issuance of the Industrial Development Board of its industrial revenue bonds for Totser Iroquois Industries, LLC.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is a request for the preliminary approval for the issuance of $3.1 million taxable revenue bond for Totser Iroquois. If I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but 2 or 3 months ago, there was a payment in lieu of tax agreement that was approved by the Industrial Development Board, and this request is incident to that. There was a 5-year abatement on the personalty for this industry that's an automotive support industry. It's going to be located in Laverne. They will employ 25 people at startup, which I understand to be sometime this year. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I take it this meets all the 3-to-1 criteria and everything that,
It was 5.9 to 1.
That's correct.
Question, just as a gentleman.
Yes, sir.
Younger and Associates. I was reading recently, and we're nowhere near the only county or entity that uses them around the mid-state, are we?
No, sir.
Okay.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Peak, thank you, seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Discussion?
This is the regular 5-year ramp up, 0, 25, 75.
No, it's it's a little bit of a different animal in that it's 5 years, and for that 5-year period on personalty only, not real estate, they pay no ad valorem tax on the personalty, but it's as the equipment comes online. So there will be one slug of equipment that gets a full 5-year abatement. Then there'll be another slug that comes on in year 3 that only gets 2 years, and then there's a third that comes on in year 4 that only gets 1 year of the abatement.
5-year total depending on when they bring it in, basically.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then the real estate then is what, I'm sorry?
It's a lease, so there's no real estate to
Okay,
abate.
okay. All right. It's bringing in jobs. What is their top item as far as how many jobs?
Well, what they've said in their application is that they're going to have 20 hourly and 5 salaried, but, that's just their initial projections. I don't really have any idea what they ultimately think they're going to do.
No. Okay.
And those 25 are the numbers that were used in coming up with the 5.9 to 1 ratio.
25 jobs is 25 jobs. You
Yeah.
can't hit a
Yeah.
1,000 first employer every time, you know?
Right. Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Gentlemen, turn please to section 3 in your notebooks. We have an ambulance service fund budget amendment.
Okay. This, the ambulance received a $30,000 award, awarded them a donation to purchase gateways, mobile gateways for the ambulances, and they are asking to budget the revenue and the appropriation for the computer equipment.
Motion to approve. Second.
Commissioner P, thank you, seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Mr. Bratcher from Chancery Court. Your amendment, please.
Yes, ma'am. This basically amendment created when Chancellor Corlew's court officer left and the new court officer came on, and there were about 4 days of vacation that he did not take. And we're transferring the money, hopefully, from overtime to that salary item. It was a situation in which the new person was coming on, there really wasn't, we weren't able to leave that spot vacant for a week, basically. Yeah. Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Sandlin, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Robertson from Information Technology and Mrs. Boland, our circuit court clerk, will join us for your budget amendment, please.
Yes, I was very hopeful that she would join because she is the source of funding. And if she did not, we shouldn't really proceed on. So, the request is to allow establishment of an IT project manager, primarily to assist with the circuit court clerk project of changing software systems potentially in the circuit court clerk's office. And so we have requested here $50,000 from circuit's excess fees and the balance from data processing services. That should read data processing services in order to cover this amendment. We worked with the mayor to get to this juncture, and actually Mr. Bratcher is also aware of our potential plans with this project, and so if the mayor wants to say anything, and then Ms. Bowling really needs to explain it from the circuit court standpoint.
She'll be able to do a much better job of explaining the return on this investment. And it is an investment, and it's going to make have the potential for great returns, we believe. I know most of you have heard about GSA years before I knew anything about GSA, and we have a system over there that it's not really appropriate to provide the level of services that need to be provided, and she is on a journey to help us find a way to change that, improve that, provide many additional services, and at the same time, it will generate some additional revenues and save monies on the dollars we're spending with GSA. So I really think that, and you're going to find that she's a very, very thorough person in that she has the ability to really identify areas that need to be worked on to make some real improvements in the delivery of her services. So I think she'll do a much better job of telling you some of the details.
Okay. So it's a project management position. I'm sure you know what project management is. It's that person that gathers all the information and makes sure that that project works. And as the budget amendment indicates, I'm committing to additional revenue, giving back essentially that $50,000 that's already in my employment order to do this. So I am definitely committed to this being a successful process. And in discussing this project with Brian, we felt that this would be better served as a county position. Because once this project is over, the project person isn't necessary. But there's a lot of value that can happen within the county for other technology projects that are out there. So this isn't just something that we're looking at, yay, we're going to do it in the circuit court and it's all going to be mine. It's something that we can develop and really grow this county technologically. In our office, we are currently spending, between the money we spend in our office and the money that the county contributes, $121,000 for our case management system. It's been over $3 million we've spent on this system, and it's been here since 1989. It is not appropriate. And as far as a return on the investment, we have anywhere from a projected $2,300 return on investment to a $76,000 potential return on investment annually by looking at different software options and different processes that we can use. This project manager is going to help that process work not just in circuit court, but really work with all of the entities. We have the sheriff's office, juvenile detention, workhouse, domestic violence, child support, the DA, and probation, all accessing that data. And then the potential of marrying the circuit court offices and chancery court, you can't even imagine the time savings that would be achieved by just being able to click and drag information instead of actually physically transferring those files. So there's a lot of opportunity in this position, and I'm just really excited that we can work together on it.
So I had two questions when you first came out with this. One was, is this going to be an ongoing position? It sounds like, yes, you'd like for it to be. And secondly, the funding, is that going to be 100% out of your revenues from now on, or what's the?
For the next couple of years, I've committed to contributing $50,000 of our excess fees to this project. And once we ramp down, we're looking at probably 18 months to 3 years that this project will take. And so once that ramps down and once we move off, then Brian will start looking at how he can achieve that in his budget. Because then it's going to be focused on other county projects, not just the court. Because I don't need to add another staff person that I'm only going to need for 18 months to 3 years. It's not logical.
You might also want to possibly mention the potential use of these access fees that you might charge the attorneys.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty big piece of this possibly.
Absolutely. And all of the products that we're looking at, and some of the options that we're looking at prior to doing an actual change, but all of the products we're looking at have the option of offering a subscription service to attorneys to access the information in their offices. We've already started the back scanning project using our archive fees, so we've already got some scanned information, and linking that together so they can actually access that information from their office, as opposed to coming into our office, getting copies, all those kinds of things. That generates a significant amount of revenue. Each person paying $25 or $35 a month to access that information, and times several hundred people on a monthly basis, up to however many there are in this county. In Davidson County, it's well over $250,000 annually that's generated. I don't think it would be that much here. Obviously, we're a smaller county as far as the attorney base is concerned, but it's still an absolute revenue generation that we can do with this moving
Cut
to.
down on demand on staff by having to deal with the people that come and foot traffic in the office.
Well,
They could do it
it's-
from a computer instead of having to have assistants or whatever.
And it also, more than that, it creates more accuracy and efficiency. When you call on the phone and you say, check case number 4568, what if that's not exactly the number? If you've transposed the number, or we transpose the number, and we give you the wrong information on the phone, if you can look it up yourself and confirm that that's exactly it, and look at the document and say, oh, this is when it actually came back, there's a lot of stuff that can be achieved with that as far as efficiency and accuracy is concerned.
Is some of this information that's available there privileged, and who would have access to what extent? I know the sheriff's department, some of their,
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, all of our juvenile records are confidential. So obviously, that wouldn't just be available for subscription service. If it's a sealed record, of course, that's going to be unavailable. And then all of the software that I'm looking at has either an internal redaction software or the ability to actually add a redaction software to it, so that you'll have the original document, you'll always have that original, but you'll also have a redacted document, and we will internally, through either our office as project manager or IT, control your actual access level. So your access is restricted to your cases or your firm, and you will only then see those redacted copies, or you'll see the whole copy if it's actually your case.
well, the people that are having their information pulled, are they having to give a release on this stuff? or-
This is
or
public
something?
information.
Okay.
Yeah, this is public information.
Okay.
Well, the second page, the way it's written out here, 39 full deputies, 1 assistant, 5 circuit, what is all that?
Well, let me explain this.
Oh,
This is-
that's my
This
employment
is
order.
the annual order.
It's the annual order, and it's that last paragraph is what we're letting you see, is that it was in her order to do this.
Yes.
Now, we're doing it a different way, and that she's not going to be paying it.
Pardon?
As an employee through her staff, it's going to roll in as excess fees and be available to fund this position in Brian's budget.
And maybe
So
if I-
this position will actually be through you, but it's be over in her office as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Until that project finishes, and then whatever phenomenal ideas happen throughout the county, he or she will be available for that as well.
So it's going to take 18 months to implement this, and we really won't know until after it's implemented the kind of revenues that you'd be receiving, is that correct?
Well, we'll achieve some kind of cost saving just looking at a new software
or
program.
sheer reduced recurring costs.
Exactly. I mean, we're not even talking about, there's an additional potential with revenue generation, but just changing our software platform, because I don't want to say that we're just leaving GSA, because they're welcome in this process as well. But just restructuring what we're doing. We have 7 different offices that are paying to access the data we've already paid for. That's not really a good contract structure. So so we need to unify that process, put it into a system where everybody can access the data. And if our office says, Sheriff's Office, you can access this data, we give you full access. We shouldn't have to charge the Sheriff's Office to access the data that they're creating to put in our system so that they can re-access it. Because that's what's happening right now.
Lisa, this order is dated August 2nd, so this position was already in the budget. We're just changing how we fund it, is that right?
The
I was under the
50,000
impression this was, we were talking about a new position.
No.
This position's already approved through the budget.
50,000 is in the
Yeah.
order.
So we're just
So I-
changing how we fund it, basically, is all we're doing.
I had
I
it
thought we were
counted.
adding a position 2 months into the budget. I was
No,
mistaken,
no,
so-
I had accounted for this
Okay.
in my revenue, and that's why my revenue is increasing that 50,000 to 1.2 million, my excess fee contribution, because I'm moving that out of this order.
It's
Should
just
you
that-
approve it?
It's just the
If you don't, I'm not.
8256, it's coming out of the
the-
processing
Out of
fees,
his.
out of your budget
That's right.
to go into this.
That's correct.
And so then basically, like, I'm just trying to soak it all in here.
Mm-hmm.
This person's only gonna be used for like 18 months, though. You're thinking
18
somewhere in
months to
there.
3 years. It just
Okay.
depends on
However
the
long it takes.
transition.
Okay.
That it's gonna, even if we stay with GSA, it is going to be an incredible data transfer nightmare. These are, the data, come visit and look at the
But this
system.
salary here is for that position for a 1 year, our 1 year time
For the,
frame.
this money is for the balance of this year. It'll be
The-
more when we
right.
budget for a full 12 months.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
She does the same 50,000 that we'll need to meet,
It'll be a little bit more out of his budget next year.
to basically do July, August, September, this
And there
start date
could be
is
the
October.
possibility, once this project is over, then we may not need this position.
We may or may not, but the county clerk, whoever may,
Right.
or
May
somebody else
Or
may have something else.
HR, or
come on
any-
board with the same situation.
There'll be other opportunities
Yeah.
likely, but
Yeah.
we don't know.
Yeah.
Right, and it, you know, and that person can understand that even in the hiring process, but in terms of impact on our department, this is a very large project even for a sizable IT department, and this actually, the situation is that all of the employees in OIT will be involved in supporting this effort. Project manager position allows more efficient access to those resources inside my department, so that I don't have a programmer, for instance, sitting for hours on end trying to learn a judicial process in order to help us create a good specification to put in our RFP, for instance. Or if there were programming things that needed to be altered, the project manager can articulate to that programmer exactly the morsel of information that he or she needs, well, he in this case, needs to know after the project manager has gleaned these functional requirements from talking perhaps hours with circuit court or Ms. Bowling personnel. So as far as from my standpoint, it really ends up just being more efficient use of our other employees with the various skill sets that they have. This person doesn't do the work. They're not a programmer. They're not running cable or establishing networks and that sort of thing. They'll probably have an IT background, but they're the person that makes sure that those things get done in a timely manner, so that the multiple phases of this project, without which you might have software and insufficient hardware to support the software upon installation, and you've got a disaster. So that's how I see it. This is better access to our employees, and this will be a person that's more likely to have good people skills than some computer geeks have from time to time, including myself. So it's a different skill set really than what we typically have, than what you typically see in an IT department. There are IT managers, IT project managers in Shelby County and in Davidson County. I think it's fair to say that you're starting to see IT project managers in all sizable IT organizations. We've become pretty competent at break fix. When something breaks, we fix it. That doesn't mean that we're good at improving the operations of a department at a fundamental level. And this is the piece that I think Ms. Bowling, up against a giant project, is saying this is the piece that's missing. We've got to have some project management focus, or it's possible that this could fail. and she's been cooperatively arranging this with us, seeing really what is a weakness in our department, and saying, I want to help you fix it, and I'm even willing to fund a significant portion of it, and help ensure that this project is still able to come to fruition.
Who will be doing the hiring for this project? You said something about he a minute ago. I assume that you've already got
The
somebody.
he I was
in mind.
referring to is the database developer that I said that they would be consulting with, and in that case, I changed to he. I said he or she, and I said he. I'm actually referring to the he programmer that they would be working with. We would do a nationwide search, I feel, for a salary at this level. We would post it openly. Neither myself or Mr. Bowling have any person in mind. I don't even know a person except for Ms. Bowling, actually, that nearly has an IT project manager degree. This is probably a degreed position. I believe Ms. Bowling was very nearly a
Well,
project management
I was going for my project management certification.
from previous life.
Yeah, in a previous life.
And we don't
Got
have any-
ended somehow.
We don't have a potential candidate within our system now.
But you think you can probably attract a higher quality candidate by presenting the position as a permanent position rather than for 18 months?
Right,
That's
right.
part of why you're wanting it to sound,
Well, and higher quality and really more value for this county. We're the fifth or sixth largest county in the
Fifth.
state?
The remainder
Fifth?
this year.
And we have software that we're using from 1989, and that's not we're not the only department that's saddled with that. We're losing efficiencies. And this just seems a logical fit that we
You're supposed to.
get someone culturally used to what Rockford County is about, and then once they're done here, they've got that cultural background, that relationship background that can be used in any other department, and identify any other efficiencies that they can help achieve or create within all of the departments.
I think I'm on board, but the $120,000 that we're spending now with that realm is,
GSA.
with this, is gonna knock that out
If
day
it's-
one, or is it like
Oh, no.
day 60 or day 100 maybe,
Day
that's when
18
that,
months.
it's phased,
gonna
it's
be-
gonna fade it out
yeah,
gradually.
It'll be phased out
And it'll be
gradually.
replaced with something else that's more sophisticated, produces a lot better results, but we've got to pay something for that piece of software, whatever we may get through this process of evaluation and determination and
Right.
definition.
But I'm thinking 120,000 plus 58,000 is what I'm thinking, and then that's just for the partial year, and then next year, we're still looking at 120 plus whatever, the 65 or so thousand that we're gonna,
And we've been doing $120,000
Mhm.
since at least 1994.
And if we don't do
So
something,
this
we'll
is,
continue.
that
We've got an
number
antiquated
is,
system.
yeah.
It's antiquated, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to move.
yeah,
into the
we've
next-
we've got to change
millennium.
something. This
That's all I'm
is-
making sure of.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
And it'll eventually transfer over to being, totally funded out of OIT. We'll move it that direction, but in the interim.
One other question about the number, and then I'm good. Why the 58,256? Where'd that number come from?
It's an October 17 start date. We don't feel we can get them to start any sooner than that. So that's a pay grade 11. Our HR department has evaluated that project management position and agreed in consultation with the mayor and with Ms. Bowling that pay grade 11 would be the appropriate pay grade. So that's simply a calculation of salary and benefits with through June 30 with a October 17 start date, Commissioner.
Which October 17 is really aggressive as a start date.
I would
so.
say, yeah. But so what is that pay grade total dollars then? I know this is the remainder of that year for the pay grade 11, so it is,
It's the low 65.
61,000 or something like that.
Something like that.
For the base salary, then you got your other benefits on top of that.
right. So we are looking about the 65 or
It'll be more
68,000.
than that, it'll be 75 to 80,000 when you put all the benefits with it.
Maybe it's just my accounting skills being lacking. But in the first line item,
101-45120, circuit clerk excess fees.
Mhm.
And the increase there is $50,000, making it 1.2 million this year. Where is that 50,000 coming from initially?
I've already made an excess fee estimate of 1.15 million for you.
Right.
And I made that with the idea in my employment order that I would already be spending $50,000 to fund some kind of project management position.
Okay.
So it's already in this employment order. I'm just essentially giving it back in excess fees. I'm not spending it out of my payroll. I'm relinquishing that $50,000, which means that I'm going to be very involved in the hiring process. Relinquishing that back over to OIT. So I've already accounted for that budget-wise when I made this employment order.
It's a very strong degree of trust in which she's conducted this, I think, that she's really putting her money where her mouth is in that regard. This is truly from those estimated excess fees.
Mhm.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Do we need any further discussion, questions for either of these two?
I'm excited about trying this, but, you know, after this 18-month period, I'd like for you to report back on it, see where
Absolutely.
we're at, and
Oh, you'll be getting
We,
reports, I'm sure.
we may have to tweak this or do something different.
Absolutely.
If it's not, you know, coming across as we expect it to.
And I expect her to scream well before that.
Good.
Yeah, really.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaper?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gregory, if you will join us, please, from Pet Adoption and Welfare Services.
Good evening. We're asking for a budget amendment tonight to move money from our drugs and medical supply line item to our veterinary services. This is money that's within the budget. We anticipated at the first of the year, we were hoping to have Dr. Bingham's surgical wing already built. Of course, that's running behind typically like most projects do. So we're still having to send the animals out to the veterinarians, and this is to put more money back in there so we can continue to pay the vouchers to the veterinarians. The second part of the amendment is we had an unexpected major repair to our air conditioner that we don't have the money to pay for. We're asking for $10,000 to pay for the repairs of that conditioner. It was an $8,000 part, and the labor ended up, I think, being about $3,700. Very major repair. At Public Safety, it was discussed for the mayor, myself, and building maintenance to try to come up with something for how we're going to handle this system in the future, because this system's given problems, my understanding, from day one. So
Didn't
we're
we
gonna-
just have a ventilation problem and
Yeah.
change the whole system out? Is this the first system or the replaced
This
system?
is the replacement system.
And it's not
Only
under
been in there,
warranty
what?
anymore?
Well, no, it's been in there, we replaced that the first year I was here, so it's been in there about 4 years now.
It's about the third unit you put in there, Will, isn't it?
Well, it's the second one, I mean.
We had the one that didn't
The
ventilate,
original
right? We had
unit
a-
we took out, which
Yeah.
didn't have the right design to handle.
So we're talking about
I
the
thought
third
most-
unit now.
No, just a second, it's just a
I
second.
thought most units had like a
No, this-
five-year parts warranty.
Excuse me, this is a piece of the second unit that's been replaced here, in the coil or whatever it was, that
I thought
condenser.
most units had a 5-year parts warranty. There's no warranty left on this unit?
No. It's not the compressor, it was
I believe it was a condenser.
condenser, I believe.
And that part was covered because we had replaced it previously. I think it was $1,000,
The
$1,200.
compressor.
That part was under warranty. The part that was the $7,900 or $7,800 was a coil that they had to order and replace that coil. That's the first time that, to my knowledge, that we had to do a repair to the coil.
This is about a $40-something thousand unit that was put in as a replacement for the initial unit.
And in 4 years' time, we're spending $10,000, $11,000 back on the
Very
unit.
unfortunate situation.
And you all are gonna look into it, see if we can, the public safety says something, look into see if there was a better option for the future.
We are looking, we've been looking even before this, but most of the other places like ours have multiple units, multiple smaller units, and you don't have as much risk and exposure if one of them goes down. But this was designed, one set of ductwork for one unit. If we go to multiple units, which is an option, we'd have to rearrange the ductwork, et cetera, which would be a major expenditure. So we don't, quite honestly, we don't know what is the best approach.
Do we still have the Public Building Authority?
Yes, they're still alive.
Can't we give this project, we got to do something with the thing now, because it's not working.
Well, it's already fixed, is it not?
Oh, yeah, it's fixed.
We gotta pay the bill now.
Maybe we don't have another breakdown for 10 years, but we don't know. This is an unusual event, that something this major to happen this early, but
Well, it's already been repaired, which it had to be, and we gotta pay the bill, but if we would look into whatever better plan for the future, maybe. I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
I don't
We gotta
like
pay
going
the
to
bill.
unassigned
Yeah.
fund balance.
But that's what it's there for
Well,
this
An unexpected.
emergency.
Well, just to talk about the unassigned fund balance, this is the only money we're spending out of that fund tonight.
So
So
far.
we're going to be on a little bit better pay. I think I've looked through these amendments, and this is the only expenditure we're taking out of the fund. So we're on a little bit better pace after tonight.
Yeah, you can take this as you will, but when I was at Bedford, I had to ask for $1,000 one year out of budget. It pains me to come and ask for money that I can't cover my budget.
But we appreciate
Pains us
your
too.
efforts.
So I understand it does. If there was a way that I could come up with it, I would surely bring that option to you.
Bake sale.
we're probably going to be able to recover some money from the sale of horses.
I don't know that you're going to be able to sell those. We're going to give them away.
It's a major difficulty that we are beginning to incur.
We're not set up for horses.
Fortunately, someone has a farm that's been gracious enough to allow us to use, but my understanding is I probably don't want to meet his wife out in public.
See, as people who own property in the rural areas better keep their gates locked. People are putting horses in their fields.
Absolutely, that's what's happening.
Really? Wow. Can't take care of
This
them.
morning, and there's a couple of horses in your field.
Or just turned loose on the roadway.
There was one down 840 just a while ago.
Oh, don't
And
tell
what's
us
on the-
that.
No, the Triune area, whatever, they had that, they
Williamson
had
County.
caught, yes, Williamson County, they'd caught the horse on 840, they were trying to.
Get back
Yeah,
Okay,
If we
okay,
sell
gentlemen.
horse meat, it's
We
not
got a
going to
motion
correct
and
this
second.
problem.
Gentlemen, we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion relative to this motion? Commissioner Schaefer?
Yeah, because public safety, we asked the mayor, Mr. Gregory, to look into, to find people that would know the answer to come up with a better way of doing this, to find out, so we don't have this again, because that's all we've had since we got. Can we go that a step further and say, hey, give it to the PBA and let them, research? Or,
Well, the PBA will do the same thing I would do,
Oh.
probably hire an engineer
Oh.
to give us a complete review of the whole system out there. I have some money in an engineering account within the mayor's budget, and if necessary, we'll spend some of that and get a professional person to.
Didn't we hire an engineer 4 years ago to put this system in? Because the other ventilation
Yes, you
wasn't
did.
working?
You hired that person on or about the time I came here, and that's what this person recommended, is what we put in.
What was that person's name, since they did such a good job for us?
We might not have that.
I can retrieve that. I mean, there's
I
a,
wouldn't mind saying it publicly. I'm a little put out about, I voted no on this in public safety because I'm frustrated with it keep coming up and knocking on our door, and we keep paying and we keep paying. This wasn't bid out. I mean, I think there's a lot of things I don't like about it, but there are two different things on here. There's $7,000 for veterinary services, and I'm very much willing to vote for that. But this is one motion together, but I'm gonna have to say no on it, and I realize, I'm just being obstinate about it, but like I said, I'm fed up with this situation out there.
But at the end of the day, there's some mechanical company out there that got called to do a repair, told to do the repair, and we've got to pay our bill, because somebody told them, and it had to be fixed to continue operations. So
Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a question, please. There is nothing that says that Rutherford County, this is a question I'm asking, that says Rutherford County has to have an animal shelter. Is there a state law? Is there anything like that?
I think it's optional. Ambulance and animal shelters are optional.
Okay. What I'm saying, we gotta pay this one. If we can't get the thing in the future, that's an option that we have. You know, sometime if it comes to that, we can't get it to function properly. Because it's, you know, that's why I think where some of us are coming from is we want to get it squared away. Because it's something we gotta have, we need in the county. If you're gonna be a respectable county, you gotta have it. That's what
And a county this size.
Yeah, but we do have other options.
No,
No, I'm not saying a thing about that. I'm saying about the ventilator. It's been nothing but a headache until we build
Okay. Gentlemen, any further discussion relative to the motion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
No.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gregory. I'm assuming the sheriff and Mr. Russell are in break, probably really good. Have you not seen them? Sometimes I think they are in the break room and just waiting till until it's their turn to come in.
We can go to the next one.
We thought surely you were here.
Back in the back room, in the green room.
Okay, Mr. Russell and Sheriff Arnold, good evening. If you will begin, you have 10 amendments.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Item number one on your list is, let's see, contributions. We had the cold case seminar back in August. We had about, I think it was almost 70 guys from all over the country and out of the country, even as far away as Canada that came in. So there's all the payments here that they had paid for the course, and so we're going to amend that money in. So that's $14,875. We're going to put that back into our training budget line item. The next item is the memorial bricks that we've been selling for the 911 memorial that we're building out there at the SO. And matter of fact, the ceremony for that is this Sunday. And so we're going to put those funds into the other contracted services, $399. We've got contributions that have come in for the memorial that are not for bricks, but just for like the construction of it, and also the K-9 and the Explorers departments that we've got. And so we've tallied all those together, and it's $1,270. It's going to go into $399 line item as well. Let's see, we recycled some materials from the maintenance department, and we're going to put that into repair and maintenance of the jail. The item number 5 is we had a piece of equipment that we recycled, and since it was a piece that was purchased, we put it into the 421 line item, which is food prep. Next item is donations to the SCAN program and Operation Integrity. So we're going to put that into the 499 line item, which is where most of their charges will come out of. The next item is it's where an attorney paid for a bunch of copies, so we're putting that money back into the office supplies for the jail and for that line item, so that's $435. Number 8 is where we had a donation for the vegetable garden, and so we're putting that into the jail 499 line item as well to be for those funds there. Number 9 is where the state reimbursed some medical charges, and so we're going to put that into all the medical charges normally come out of the $399 account on the jail side as well. That's the one that Dr. Rudd's paid from. And then the very last item is we had a bunch of material that was donated to the Man on Patrol at one time. They're going to build a barn, and they've decided not to do that since we have the stables and everything. So we've recycled all that material, and that's gone into his line item there, $399 as well, for supplies for his operation. And that's all I have.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second.
Commissioner Sandlin and seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Discussion?
these sources of revenue were not budgeted originally.
Mm-hmm.
Are you compelled to move these sources of revenue into these various accounts, or could you do something else with them, for example, like add them all up and buy another Crown Victoria?
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of different things. Usually these donations, as they come in, these different divisions that we have go out and they'll solicit donations in, and then they use those funds as part of their program, their overall program, to pay for just whatever, T-shirts, flyers, whatever. If they have an event, they use it to pay for the event, or if they have to rent something or things like that, so.
People pretty much earmark what they want their money, when they donate it to us, what they want it spent for.
I mean, I just ask because if you're compelled to put this into these accounts, that's one thing. On the other hand, if you could add it all up and buy a Crown Victoria, then maybe we could subtract some of the money we spent from the unassigned fund balance last month. It added up to $500,000.
I mean,
But
the bricks,
yeah.
different things that people have donated to the K-9 program, they want their money to
Yeah.
specifically go to that, not.
Yeah, normally they're donating it for a reason, yeah, that's true.
And usually like the recycled materials, we just put that back into whatever. If it came out of maintenance because they did something and they replaced something, then we put it back into maintenance, because that's probably where it originally came out of.
Purchased from, yeah.
I mean, just to take a big one on here, number 9, $17,000 is from the state inmates medical reimbursement. Sounds like that came from the state.
Yes,
Yeah,
it comes from
But they
the
wanted
state,
in-
but it's money we've already spent out of our medical budget line item, and so we're just putting that money back in our medical budget line item.
The only thing I'd counter, it would have been prior year. It didn't come out this year, it would have
It came out,
been
yeah.
prior year. So
But it should be a wash year to year.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's one that you probably really didn't have to put money back in, because it was expended.
The less you
prior
put
year.
back in there, the less we're gonna put in. I mean, the less you put in, the more we're gonna have to put in a taxpayer dollars.
If you want to give it, we'll take that as for a Crown Vic if you.
Well, that's something we gotta remember. Mr. Baum has mentioned about the unassigned fund balance, but a lot of that was done last month was last fiscal year's money that was saved up for certain purposes, but could not really be spent until this fiscal year. So it went over.
Right.
And technically,
The
you
choice
know,
would be to put that, since it was a prior year expense, it was paid out of prior year, instead of it going back into this year's budget, it goes back into, it increases unassigned fund.
Right, that's kind of what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I know that the $500,000 we spent on Crown Victorias was planned. We knew it was coming. We spent it because you all had saved the money from the prior budget year to spend it on that. That's kind of why I asked you if you were compelled to put all of these different sources of unanticipated revenue into these specific accounts, or you just trying to find a place to put this money?
No, we're not.
Or, there's 10 different things here. In some cases, these may be donations where you really are compelled to put the revenue in a particular account. But in other cases, some of the 10 items, that might not be the case for. If just one item, like a number 9, a big one, $17,000, could go into the unassigned fund balance, as opposed to other construction services.
Normally what we do is when these funds come back in, then we just put them back where they came out of originally, is what we're trying to do.
And one thing with medical too, it's one of those like gambles. You don't know, we might get an inmate that might get really sick or something, and the next thing you know, he's at the hospital and we get a $300,000 medical bill, so.
Yeah, I was talking
And then we
about
come back and go,
Dr.
hey, we need more money because we're out of money, so
Yeah.
kind of pay now or pay later if we're gonna pay.
Well, I think that's what
Yeah.
Commissioner Baum's got in mind, for you to pay now back into unassigned fund balance.
But then when we come back up here later and I say, hey, we need more money, we're gonna have to pull it out on the unassigned fund balance, and then we have to do the debates on that. So it don't matter, it's up to y'all. Y'all keep the purse strings, not me.
Gentlemen, any further discussion on this motion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Mr. Russell, the next is a resolution permitting the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center to institute fees for items issued to inmates at the time of each new admission to the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center. Anything else that you would like to give us some details on that?
One of the questions that was raised at the public safety meeting was that they want to know what the figures were going to be, the total that we would charge the inmate per person. And it's always just whatever we pay for the goods at the current time, that's what we'll bill them. But for today's figures, a male would be charged $7.03, and a female would be charged $7.49 when they're booked in. Now, what they'll be getting for that is socks, towel, washcloth, laundry bag, underwear, comb, soap, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, and a spork, which is a fork spoon kind of thing. If you ever go to Taco Bell, they've got those sporks, so, anyway. But, it's not a whole lot. Our cost of everything that we have to give them is quite a bit. It's over $100, but all we're asking for reimbursement for is $7. Everything else by law, we have to give them, but these are items that we can ask for reimbursement for. And these are kind of the expendables and disposables.
Do we round it up to $10 or something?
No, it has to
Gotta be.
The
By law,
statewide,
it says you can only
Yeah.
charge
Reimbursed.
what it costs the
What it
county.
costs.
And that will vary as prices go up.
For what we
and
pay
stuff.
for stuff,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sandlin, seconded by Commissioner Peak. Mrs. Nolan?
And the only question I had, this does come through the commissary?
Yes, this will be deducted out of their commissary. This is for inmates that come into the jail pre-trial that cannot afford, or that have money on their books. So if they come in with money in their pocket, then whenever we send them upstairs, then they have to pay for the stuff we give them. The indigent people, we as a county, we have to pick their cost up. But it'll come through commissary. Commissary will do all the deductions, and it'll naturally come back to the.
Well, you can bill everybody that comes in and book.
And what it is if you get somebody that comes in, they don't have any money, and they're indigent, and they say they come back 5 years from now, and they come in, they have money then, it's on our books, and we'll deduct it then. So it's one of those, because we always, there's balances left that we know from 20, 30 years ago. We keep up with everybody. And if they ever come back in and they owe the county money, then we'll deduct it out of their commissary.
Plus, if their family sends them any money
Yeah.
and they owe, that'll be taken care of first.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan, Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner P, Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Gentlemen, item 10 is a recommendation from Property Management Committee regarding the horse barn lease with Ricky Womack. You'll need to go to section 2 to the Property Management Committee meeting minutes of August 25th. And it's my understanding we do not need to take action on this. Is this just for information?
Well, I mean, the minutes said that it was to come to us, but it's already in their budget as far as to pay the rental fees. And so.
Property Management sent it to our committee, but it is already in budget. The motion was to approve the lease agreement with Ricky Womack as presented upon changing the signature blank from the sheriff to the county mayor. Clarification of the second sentence in the second paragraph of number 7 regarding providing general maintenance to the non-exclusively leased premises, and forward the lease to the budget committee.
That's what the lease was before, wasn't it? 200 a month?
No, it was free before. Now he's charging us $200 a month. I talked to Levi before we came in here. He has a organization here in Murfreesboro that they presented today to pay the first year's lease. So the county, we won't be incurring that cost, but they just proposed it today, so we don't know. And you see one of the amendments we did was, how much was it? $1,481 to his mounted patrol. If they don't pay for the first year, then we'll definitely look at his budget too.
I read in the paper there's a 30-day opt-out by county or Mr. Womack, so if this starts going south, we can cancel the lease on a month's notice.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So we don't really need it, is this just for information?
It's already in budget.
It's already in budget, we didn't feel like, we felt like we
In property
didn't.
management, we thought they would be bringing it to the commission.
But since it said come to budget, I felt like we needed to report that at least.
We need to endorse
about it.
property management concept.
Do you think that's all we need to do? Mayor, is
Voice
that all we need to do?
voice vote on that would be fine.
Okay.
Because it won't go to full
Let's
commission.
Motion to approve the concept of
We'll
property
approve the lease.
management.
We'll execute the lease without the commission's approval.
Commissioner Jordan has suggested that we authorize or agree with what the property management has sent to us. Would someone second that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Schaefer. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
The property management will take it to the commission.
Yeah,
Yes,
put it under property
yes,
management's
yes.
report.
Okay, gentlemen, do you have anything else?
He's talking with the,
Well, we don't have to tell them, you can tell them in concept what's happening, but it's just going to have to happen as a matter of operation.
Just to let y'all know, and actually I think we've got an agreement today with ABL. I can give y'all a copy of this, as a copy of the report, but we are going to have to shut down the kitchen at the jail for some repairs. We notified public safety, we'll let y'all know too, that the state of Tennessee came in, I believe that there should be enough for everybody. Did our jail inspection, and basically we've got some repairs that everyone saw if you did the tour back last October when I invited everybody over. The state of Tennessee has now said that we are a big jail, we're one of the bigger jails in the state, and they're going to treat us and hold us accountable as such. Basically, we have a new director for the state of Tennessee, TCI. We also have a new jail inspector for Rutherford County. The previous, both of them retired. So with the new inspection and new guideline stuff, they dinged us on the kitchen with grout and several other different things. They just naturally, over time, wear and tear on this area has been. And so they will be coming back on the 20th, I believe, to re-inspect us, and we feel very confident we will pass. But we have to come up with a proposal and plan for the kitchen. The kitchen right now is designed to feed, let's say, roughly 350 inmates. But we can feed or house up to 954 inmates. And so therefore, they say that our kitchen should be designed to be able to feed and store for 954 inmates. So we are in the process, working with the mayor. We have come up with some really good plans. We're going to shut down our kitchen. The workhouse is going to take over cooking our meals for us, ABL. They came over today with an agreement on how much it's going to cost us per meal for them to do those meals while we have our kitchen shut down, because we're going to have to transport food now back and forth and have to transport it up to the pods. So we're going to have to redo it, kind of our thinking on everything while we're in this process. And we are going to end up coming back. We've got a pretty good idea of how we're wanting to go with some things, so we're going to end up coming back and at the appropriate time and letting y'all know more about the different things going on with that.
How many's in the jail right now?
As of the other day, it actually had gone down at 786. We were up to 801. We budgeted for roughly, let's say, around 700.
So we're talking about expansion then, or just?
We're talking about expansion. Well, here's two phases. First thing he's going to do is just get the current kitchen brought up to standard that will pass. In other words, it's largely some floor reworking in its entirety and some of the base, et cetera. The second phase would be actually expanding that kitchen and also renovating the current into a completely different flow and process and operation, which would handle the increased capacity and needs, et cetera. So that's the second phase. But this first phase is a 30 to 60-day time period that there'll be food being prepared over at the work center, transported over in bulk to the
And one thing we're gonna
detention
do
center.
is we're gonna switch the way, instead of doing 3 meals a day during this time, we're gonna feed 2 meals a day. But we're still gonna, actually, we're gonna up our calorie intake as well. Under state law, we can feed 2 hot meals a day is what it's required. We're gonna do a snack as well. So, you know, instead of a full lunch, they'll get a snack, but it's gonna be 2 hot meals, and we're going up from, I think it's 2,500 calories to 2,900 calories a day. Of course, that also gets us more in compliant with ACA, which we're working to get ACA accredited. So I figure we'll go ahead and do that right now too. So those are the things. It's gonna be a little easier on us, instead of feeding 3 times a day, to go ahead and feed 2 while we're having to ship this food across to get to it.
But this will work through the process and through the committee process?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this first part, they'll handle it just through their normal budget. I mean, the cost of it, will be offset by, they won't be buying food, they'll be buying food through the same people that's
No, I know,
preparing
but
the
when
food.
you get, when you get to the next step.
When we get to phase 2,
Yeah.
that will be a
Yes.
different discovery got to be.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Okay, gentlemen, if you will refer to your Public Safety Committee minutes for August the 22nd, that will cover our item 11, information regarding the Assistance to Firefighters Grant application. Mr. Farley advised that he was requesting permission to apply for AFG grants to potentially purchase a ladder truck, another rescue vehicle, and equipment to refill air packs. If awarded, the grants would require a match, but this money will be phased out over the next couple of years. And notice in your minutes, the committee was advised if the grants were received, they would be in next year's budget. And Mayor Burgess, I'm assuming again that is just for our information.
Yes, it is. In other words, we are preparing 2 grants, not 3 as it might be indicated here. We don't think it's wise to do anything except the ladder truck and the grant to refill the air pack. So in the event we get approval of this, as it indicates here, we won't have them in hand to actually spend any money until the next fiscal year. And that would be the time that you would actually have to approve the acceptance of the grants and the matching funds.
That's pretty iffy on getting approved in the first place, at least on the truck. And I think the city of Murfreesboro's applied 2 or 3 years in a row, and they were actually this year applying for a used truck to try and help their chances of getting the grant. So it's
That's right.
far from a lock.
Many, many people are applying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can't get one if you don't apply.
Okay, so that is for information. Gentlemen, if you will turn to Section 8, an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $50,725,000 in general obligation bonds. The purpose of this resolution is to alert the community that the county commission is considering this borrowing. And you will notice that we are required to publish this intent in a newspaper having general circulation in the county. And then the public has 20 days after the date of publication to respond by petition if they disagree. But the main thing is to alert the community that we are indeed considering borrowing. And then the final resolution will come back to us in October. And this, of course, is for Stewart's Creek and Eagleville. Mrs. Nolan, what else do you need to tell us?
If they will flip past that, because this document only is given the authority, as Commissioner Aileen said, it's just a notice to the public of the 2 projects, and they're in total. Now, there's a difference. See, $50,725,000, but if you flip to the potential capital projects behind that,
What section's that, 8?
Section 8,
Last page.
yeah, it's that last page, that's what I want you to look at.
I don't
You got,
have
you
that
got this.
much.
It is, got it right there. That's,
Oh, is this the last page?
yeah, that was the last
Okay.
page, yeah, that's it. Under the fall 2011 Stewart's Creek, their school board's estimate with their bids is $46,344,000. The Eagleville Phase 2 edition came in at $3,529,360, and that's all inclusive cost. I mean, that's all your estimate. And borrowing that much, you'd have to, because it's a K-6 school, there's a sharing issue, and I estimate that cost to be $346,000 that we would share.
You talking about on Eagle?
Yes, sir.
Is all that for that grade or any part of it for high school?
It's a K-12 school, and so it's just.
Depends on what classrooms you're at, though.
That's not how they'll look at it. I mean, it's all one school, so what we have typically done is we'll share K-6 money.
I understand we've
K-6.
typically done that, but if we're building classrooms for upper class that the cities don't have, would we be held to
And
the
you're
same?
gonna always have only high school in those classrooms. I mean, I think you'd.
Well, I'm just asking,
Yeah. I mean, that's what.
if we don't have to
issue
pay
is.
this, I don't want to pay it.
Let's ask
Mr. Sandy,
Bill what the part they gonna do building.
And this is both phases, phase 1 and 2?
No, this is
No,
just
it's only
phase
just
2.
a phase 2.
Phase 2 is just the replacement of the portables too, and where are those portables supporting Mr. Sandvik?
Right now, mostly high school,
Mostly.
secondary school. But what we found in the past, and I think the last elementary, I'm thinking some of the last money we consciously made that decision to treat it, split it, 13 grades. Because we can't, there are elementary kids at some point who will probably use those facilities.
So you don't do
When
a
they
full.
become high schoolers?
No, as elementary.
So you don't do a
students.
full share, you do basically a 50% share, the K through 6 part.
Right.
We
Right.
don't give the full amount if it was in
No,
an
sir.
elementary school, we prorate it.
Right.
Right,
Well, that's what this is, program.
right.
Being consistent with what we've done in the past on that.
If we were only adding kindergarten classrooms, would we still prorate?
Well, that's kind of what we did last time.
I mean, if we did that last time,
No,
then this is
no,
fair, but if it's
we did not prorate it last time. We minimized the sharing. So,
So what's throwing us over, our 50 million that we had originally thought of, is because the Stewart's Creek School come in on this last bid go-round, basically 2 million under.
But
So-
there are other soft costs, et cetera, that have to be added on that they gave a.
46,344, is that the hard cost?
That includes the soft cost and the hard cost.
Yeah.
Well,
For example, the bid itself was $39,606,000. Then they add architectural fees, furniture, fixtures, and equipment of $4.1 million, inspections and utility cost. They have estimated the total will be $46,344.
what's the utility cost? We've already got sewer on the property.
Well, they are reviewing that, I believe, but
Yes.
we don't have an answer. So there's hopefully a potential that they may have overestimated that. We don't know yet.
yeah. Well, and we, on a project this size, I'm sure Mr. Clardy has included a bit of contingency because, you know, you can have a several $100,000 swing either way. But yes, we have the sewer to the property, but there are still going to be some fees we will incur.
You mentioned architectural fees, but we have already paid the design fees, or some of the design fees. We paid that last year, didn't we? So that wouldn't be included.
But even though we've paid them, it has to be included in money we've got to reimburse
Right.
that we've already borrowed from ourselves.
Well, let me ask one other question, going back to this $300,000. We have an agreement with the city of Murfreesboro School Systems that we share this money.
It's a state law.
And I understand that, but the city of Eagleville does not have a school system of its own.
Doesn't
So
matter.
it does not matter.
We got that when we built the elementary school in Laverne. We
Right.
asked the city of Murfreesboro to
Right.
Yeah.
forgive that, and they
Yes.
said, no, thank you.
Yes.
You know, because we build classrooms in Eagleville, we give the city of Murfreesboro money. It's
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah. These are
Well, it's
county
very
line
good for them. They don't have to come in and increase the taxes like we do because of the student population's going up when we're giving them money to build the schools, so.
I make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan.
Now, what I anticipate, this is, again, it's the notice to the public for the total cost of the school's estimate of the project. We will be coming back with a final.
We haven't said for sure, and I hate to even say this out loud, we haven't said for sure we're doing Eagleville at this point in time.
No,
So this
true.
is not saying, I mean, we've got to see what it could,
You're
the mayor
still
brought
not
up last
saying-
month, we've got some other money coming up the next year.
You're s-
We've got to spend some Joe B. Jackson money and things like that, do we not?
We do, but we think that
Can we
we
put that
that we
off?
won't have to fund any of that in this
Okay.
fiscal year. So we think,
Okay.
Lisa and I are willing to not fund any of that money yet.
Okay, so that makes Eagleville look a lot more.
It looked at more possible.
Little-
It's included what we're talking about right here.
Only in this initial are we just discussing schools, and that's what we've put out in this initial, is that it's just schools. And if you look at, we don't even name the schools. It's the schools, but the support is for those two projects. This gives the community opportunity to protest.
And did you tell us why we're advertising an amount of $50,750,000?
There's an estimate of 1% for underwriter's discount. Now we anticipate, premium, and so it'll be resized, but.
So you know when you.
We cover all bases.
Jeff, you know when you'll have those hard numbers as far as the turnkey projects with the,
And I'll talk to Mr. Clardy. We should have something finalized by the time we come to Health and Ed. He was pretty comfortable with both sets of numbers. But, yeah, that's what
we had
put
an
together
issue
right
before in the elementary and middle school on the city of Smyrna's tax, their impact fees also.
Right.
And I think we washed that by helping them with the sewer coming in, and we kind of split those costs. And
what Smyrna did was they, by us paying those impact fees, Smyrna provided services more than equal to those impact fees.
The sewer,
Yeah.
they paid for the sewer.
Yeah.
so we won't have an impact fee then on this high school.
I don't believe so. I'm thinking that was for our overall site.
I'd like to see the total picture on that.
And we can bring that when we come to budget.
I appreciate that.
There was a question from
Yeah.
last Health Net about so much for utilities, because we
Yeah.
Right.
were under the impression that there weren't going to be tap fees and things like that. Smyrna was working with us and helping us out.
And we also work with Smyrna on that property across the street from Morton there on their park. So, I mean, let's get down to the basics of, we're all one big happy family here. Let's get along.
We gave them enough land for the fire station too, I think.
But this will give
We
you
sure are nice
another
to them.
cycle of
Well,
meetings to
hey.
have
We say good.
Yeah.
before we come back in.
Of course. To Rockville.
Gentlemen, we do have a motion and a second. Do we need further discussion?
Well, we was hoping that the bid on Eagleville would come in a little lower. We was hoping that the bid on Stewart's Creek would come in lower. I mean, we were talking about 42, 45 range, and we're at 46 something here. And then we were talking about 2 or so on Eagleville, and now it's at 3, just that one phase, so.
Actually switched phases where we're going
Yeah.
phase
Yeah.
2 instead of phase 1.
Right.
And we talked about both.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, we may have gotten lucky just that they were rebid. The first round of bids were higher. They're lower now than they would have been.
And we're not seeing the prices we saw on our two middle schools at that point.
The number of
It did some
players is
bounce back.
diminishing out there.
Everything going
The number of companies.
Yes, true.
Some have gone by the wayside.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, but we've had some tight bids on the low end for both of these projects.
Gentlemen, are we ready for the vote? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum?
Yes?
Commissioner Jernigan?
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin?
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Ely?
Yes. Any other business that needs to come before our committee?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
September 15th, 16th, and 17th, ending on, as Old Timers Day. And No, Old Timers 3 days in Laverne, and there's going to be a carnival there. And of course, Saturday's a big day. Yeah. And breakfast at the rescue squad early that morning, a parade downtown, and everyone's cordially invited to attend.
Anything
Well,
else?
speaking of ham breakfast, my daughter just got Tennessee State Fair Grand Champion Country Ham. I'm pretty impressed. So should you.
Bring ham biscuits to the next meeting.
Bring your ham and biscuits. Since we were talking about ham, I just had to say it. Yeah.
Anything else that needs to come before our committee?
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.